and welcome to the weekly newscast by First Ukraine. My name is Victoria Zabiyan. Thank you for joining us. Nadia Savchenko is back in Ukraine. On Wednesday, a plane carrying the Ukrainian fighter pilot arrived at Kyiv's Boryspil airport. Nadia's sister and mother, along with dozens of politicians, journalists and supporters, were at the VIP terminal to greet her. She thanked everyone for their support and said she is ready to start work in Ukrainian parliament. Our journalist there to witness the historic occasion.
Ukraine had waited for this moment for over 700 days. Nadia Savchenko returning home after being freed from Russian jail. Hundreds turned out to greet the Ukrainian pilot, among them Nadia's family, her sister Vera and mother Maria, who both campaigned so hard for her release. Alongside them, former Prime Minister Yulia Tymoshenko. Maria Ivanovna, how do you feel? I want to cry. Last time Maria saw her daughter was on December 24th. She knew in advance Nadia was coming back to Ukraine. It was an emotional reunion. Maria Ivanovna was brought to the plane but appeared lost for words. After a few minutes, Nadia herself was swamped by journalists. The first thing I want to say is that I'm released. I want to apologize to all mothers whose children did not return from the war zone in eastern Ukraine. I'm still alive. I want to apologize to those mothers whose children sit in captivity and I am free. I want to tell you, yes, I won't bring back the dead, but I'm always willing to put my life on the line again for Ukraine. Nadia thanked everyone who supported her, saying if not for the people, she couldn't survive. Supporters of Nadia thanked her in return. Nadia was also greeted by Yulia Tymoshenko. She asked Savchenko when she could start working in parliament. Nadia's response, she just wants some rest for now. First of all, I will run into forest, drink 2 liters of vodka, calm down, and then see you, okay? The politician said the return of Nadia to Ukraine is for most an achievement for Nadia herself, not the Kremlin. Many journalists, politicians, and ordinary Ukrainians were not prepared. However, they were overwhelmed with emotion. I'm all shaking when I read through the internet that she might come back and then that she was exchanged and that she flew by plane to Kyiv. I immediately realized that I should go here to the airport to meet her because I couldn't help but come in here. I rooted for her and I'm glad she's safe and sound. I had time to get dressed, bought the biggest loaf and got here to meet our Nadika, the hero of Ukraine. I came to give flowers to Savchenko, so she have never left us. After the warm greeting, Nadia departed to the presidential administration.
On Bankova Street, President gave Nadia a title of Hero of Ukraine. Head of the state thanked her for brave serving to Ukrainian people and mentioned that the next goal after release of Savchenko is the occupation of Ukrainian territories. In her turn, Nadia Savchenko said that she will make everything possible for execution of Minsk agreements.
Під довгих 709 днів переживали, молилися.
For a long 709 days, we worried, prayed, actively worked and organised protest actions for this day to come, the day when Nadia came back to Ukraine, Nadia Savchenko, and hope and strong belief in our victory. And how we returned Nadia will be the same way we will return Donbass and Crimea under Ukrainian sovereignty.
І так, як ми повернули Надію, так ми повернемо Донбас. Так ми повернемо Крим під український суверенітет.
I thank to the people of Ukraine and the whole world. I will tell you that people are great power. If people don't speak, the politicians will do nothing. Maybe the essence of democracy is when people talk, they are heard, when people make all to be heard. We will be heard, as we are Ukrainians. We sacrificed not one, but many lives for it, so we will get our voice, will never remain unheard. Ukraine has a right to be, and we will be, as we are Ukrainians, we are the people, and we are the nation.
Nadia Savchenko spent over 700 days in captivity before her release this week. Since being captured by Russian-backed forces in June 2014, she has become a symbol of Ukraine's resistance against Moscow. We've documented the key moments in her new 2-year order.
Ukrainian pilot, helicopter navigation operator, on mid-June 2014 went on a mission as a part of assault team of Battalion Aidar and got captured. Self-defense of Maidan, woman sniper in sailor shirt. Did you shoot upon us today? No, I'm not a sniper. After militants interrogated Nadia in early June, she was brought to Russia. There she was accused in a separate intentional crossing the border and in the murder of Russian journalists. Savchenko denied all the charges. After numerous court hearings, she was desperate about justice in Russia and announced a dry hunger strike. I warned that I announced dry hunger strike starting from tomorrow, if I won't be given the last word. The court, could you change your decision? Well, you're such idiots, so all I want to say is a dry hunger strike from tomorrow. The illegality of Savchenko's detention recognized almost everywhere in the world. Different countries have repeatedly held a rally in support of Ukrainian pilot. Isolated protests occurred also in Russia, but their members were dispersed and the most active were detained. But other countries' governments often even supported such demonstrations. To get Nadia Savchenko out of prison tried Ukrainian politicians as well. In 2015, she was elected a member of the Ukrainian delegation to PASE. A few months earlier, the party Batkivshina included Savchenko in their party list, and after elections, Nadia became a People's Deputy of Ukraine. For all the time for the elections campaign, I do not go as number one in the list of Batkivshina. The first number of our list, my dear friends, is a true hero of Ukraine, Nadia Savchenko. But even despite this, Savchenko was still under detention. The first hope of her release appeared late last year. Her lawyer, Mark Fagan, said that the Ukrainian can be exchanged for two Russian Special Forces soldiers, Yevgeny Yerofeev and Alexander Alexandrov. In May 2015, they were detained near the city of Shastia in Lugansk region. They tried to seize a strategic bridge. The soldiers were accused in the conduct of the war in Donbass and in participation in terrorist organizations. Since then, negotiations on the exchange have started, and that became possible after the verdicts pronounced in Russian and Ukrainian courts. On March 22nd, Savchenko was sentenced to 22 years in prison. In a month, Yerofeev and Alexandrov got 14 years of imprisonment. Therefore, Yerofeev and Alexandrov are recognized guilty. On Tuesday, the sentence came into force, and the next day afternoon, it became known that the exchange would take place. The presidents of Russia and Ukraine pardoned political prisoners, and that enabled them to come back to the homeland. And on Wednesday, May 25th, Nadia Savchenko returned home.
Despite Savchenko's release, more 27 Ukrainian political prisoners are still in Russian captivity. 15 of them are captured on the territory of Crimea, 12 in Russia. Documents for extradition had been already filed by Oleg Sentsov, Alexander Kolchenko, Gennady Afanasyev and Yuri Soloshenko. In Grozny, the court proceeding on cases of Mykola Karpyuk and Stanislav Klik goes to the end. On Tuesday, Russian prosecutors requested 22 and 25 years for imprisonment for them. And that moment when a presidential airplane with Nadia Savchenko had landed in Boryspil, the other one transferred Russian special task officers Yevgeny Yerofeev and Alexander Alexandrov to Moscow, Vnukovo airport. But only their wives were waiting for them on the landing strip. Journalists were not let to speak with them. Non-official representative was present in the airport. Press secretary of Russian President Dmitry Peskov claimed that there is no meeting with Alexandrov and Yerofeev in presidential schedule yet. And today our guest in the studio, Herman Obukhov. He is coordinator of International Anti-Putin Coalition. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for visiting.
Hello.
And as we can see, the hot topic of this week is release of Nadia Savchenko and an unexpectedly fast decision about her extradition. So, on your point of view, why Russian authority agreed finally to release her?
Well, by my point, Putin was just forced to do that because it was just no way to keep Savchenko in prison and. By my point is, it was quite hard pressure, not just from Chancellor Merkel, but from Congress of the United States, from some congressmen and senators, I think.
But so, everything happened just so quickly.
Well, I did talk to her sister Vera just 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So, and it was expected because she told me we're expecting that Nadezhda should be very soon released, and it should be happened May 25th or 26th. So It was exactly May 25th.
And it is strange that Russian authority used very aggressive rhetorics concerning Nadia, making Russian citizens really hate her, as we can saw. They called her as Banderivka and killer of Russian people and so on. And then Putin just pardoned her. And how Russian authority is going to explain to its people what happened and whether it can influence the ratings of current authority in Russian Federation, from your point of view?
Well, it was just kind of sort of normal Russian propaganda. It just showed that somebody applied for this pardon and for this release, but it's just show because I positive it was everything is set up before, but it needs to be something to explain to Russian viewers why it happened, and Putin just play like some sort of fool. So he invited two wives of killed Russian journalists, but Nadezhda know how linked to this killing because she was kidnapped just few hours before what happened in eastern Ukraine. But propaganda made Russian crazy. So
but it seems just like Russian authority doesn't care about the reaction of people.
Well, they care, but maybe not so much. So they try to fit exactly what it's Russian expect. So I think at this time it's pretty okay, but I don't know what should be next because it just started. So it's just.
I see. And we saw the arrival of Russian officers who were exchanged for Savchenko, and not seemed like somebody was waiting for them in the airport. So maybe Putin exchanged Savchenko on something, some other things, for example, cancellation of sanctions or. No way for cancel sanctions because it was few interviews including with Senator McCain. Sanctions are how linked to this release of Nadezhda, and but Russians must be something show why it happened. So it's just kind of artificially to prepare some sort of exchange. It needs to be something show. So so just these two terrorists in exchange for just innocent Nadezhda, but it looks like stupid, but still. Russian viewers just swallow it and just say, okay, so it's humanitarian target. And on your point of view, what will be the destiny of Alexandrov and Yerofeyev in the Russian Federation?
I don't want to speculate about this, but I think they just disappeared. So they're not here. They're just terrorists. So I mean, what you talk about? I mean, it should happen. Should be having nothing. So with them. Because they try to claim to meet to Nadezhda, but I think Nadezhda will not to meet Yerofeyev for Alexander, because there's just no reason to meet them, to make something publicly something kind of sort of announcement. So, but I don't care what happened to them. So,
and I would like to discuss one more aspect of this topic concerning Nadia Savchenko. Exactly today, she had official event. Well, a journalist in Kiev could ask everything they want because she had the press conference. And Nadia Savchenko does not want to be a president, but she is ready to become if it is such a necessity. Ukrainian pilot talked about this during her press conference after her release from Russian prison. She stated that elections in Donbass cannot be provided because the borders are still opened. Also, Nadia answered the questions of concerning her plans for nearest future. She was met at press conference with loud singing of national anthem.
Ukrainians, if you need, I will become a president. I just do not believe that our people learn not to vote for the pack of buckwheat. That is why I can say that I don't want to because I like to fly. But if necessary, I will go through this way and will work with the payback.
Also, Nadia told about what work she's going to do in Ukrainian parliament as MP.
The first thing I will do is the committees and commissions for army, control of the logistics and how it's all done, because unfortunately the war is lost when the ammunition is over, and the rest doesn't matter. I know how it is at the front line. It is very important that our guys know they have a home front. We should create for them a strong home front.
So what do you think about the future of Nadia Savchenko as Ukrainian politician? Can she be efficient as MP in Verkhovna Rada?
I think she will be kind of efficient deputy in Rada and also in the European Parliament. I think she also should be. And well, I very much to wish her success in this way, and I think it should be okay. But she needs just not a little bit, but to try to accept and to learn more experience how to manage this actually duty, and I hope it should be in few maybe not weeks but few months it should be done, and she should be work kind of.
I'm asking about this because the experience of military men in the political life of Ukraine shows that often they become an instrument in hands of well-experienced professional politicians, and as a result they lose trust of people. Can Ukrainians be confident in such a person as Nadia, on your point of view?
Well, but she is hero of Ukraine, so I mean, and she very popular, and it's kind of much. It's good base to develop herself for very effective politician, and I think it should be good development. And I just would like to remind that she received it. I mean, Nadezhda Savchenko, she received our award. She was granted our award of our coalition medal for achievements in struggle with fascism in Russia. So, well, actually I never met her, so I just met a few times Vera. But hopefully I will meet Nadezhda in a few weeks. I don't know well, but I positive we will talk about.
We also hope to meet her because she is very busy now. She's
well,
very
now,
popular.
yes, absolutely.
And yes, that's true. Well, thank you very much for your answers. Our guest in the studio was coordinator of International Anti-Putin Coalition, Yerman Obukhov.
Thank you very much.
And we go back to our newscast. First in the history, humanitarian UN summit was started in Turkey. There it is discussed how to react on different challenges, in particular for nature and man-made disasters, weapon conflicts, and also how to avoid them. Near 40 world leaders have gathered in Istanbul. Ukraine is represented by Petro Poroshenko. He makes a speech during the sitting of leaders section, takes part in interactive dialogue, and reads the statement during the session sitting. His press service reports. Moreover, Ukrainian president has a line of two-side meetings. Also, there are leaders of Crimean Tatars Mustafa Djemilev and Rafat Chubarov take part in summit.
The 5 core responsibilities in the agenda for humanity set out our plan of action. The first, exercising global leadership to prevent and end the conflict. Second, upholding the norms that safeguard humanity. Third, honoring our commitment to leave no one behind. Fourth, changing people's lives by shifting from delivering aid to ending need. And fifth, investing in robust political, institutional, and financial solutions.
Ukraine seeks to cooperate with the relevant international organization and institution towards establishing multi-partner trust fund to support rehabilitation and peace-building efforts in Ukraine. Also, Ukraine commits to complete with the support of the donor community, in agreed terms, the construction of the new confinement of a destroyed Chernobyl reactor.
Now to Japan, where leaders from the world's seven richest nations have insisted sanctions against Russia will stay until Moscow fulfills the Minsk agreement. Ukraine was one of the number of topics of the agenda, as well as the international economy, terrorism and climate change. Our correspondent Tom Bell has this report.
Getting stuck into the world's most pressing problems, including the war in eastern Ukraine. Leaders from the group of 7 richest nations tucked into Japanese cuisine this week as they attempted to resolve international economic, security and migration challenges. As is tradition, the visit has been full of the cliché photo opportunities, planting trees, visiting shrines and enjoying the view. But between this, serious topics are at hand, including sanctions against Russia over its intervention in eastern Ukraine. British Prime Minister David Cameron appeared to make the position of the G7 leaders absolutely clear.
On Russia, the G7 has agreed on the vital importance of sanctions rollover in June. Ukraine is the victim of Russian-backed aggression. We must never forget that fact. And the G7 is clear that existing sanctions must remain in place until the Minsk agreement is fully implemented. I believe that is an important decision.
With the Minsk II agreement largely unfulfilled, it's difficult to predict when sanctions against Russia will actually be eased. The G7's message appears to counter the talk of some anti-EU parties in Europe who argue it's about time sanctions are rolled back. But despite these warnings to the Kremlin, the G7 leaders said it's important to maintain dialogue with Russia. They argued this is needed to ensure a comprehensive and sustainable solution to the end of the war in Ukraine. On Friday, US President Barack Obama visited Hiroshima, a reminder of the work the G7 leaders still need to do to reduce the threat of wars worldwide.
It's not only a reminder of the terrible toll of World War II and the death of innocents across continents, but it's also to remind ourselves that the job's not done in reducing conflict, building institutions of peace, and reducing the prospect of nuclear war in the future.
For 17 years, until 2014, Russia formed part of what was the G8 before their invasion of Crimea. As sanctions fatigue takes hold, though, it's anyone's guess if Vladimir Putin will return to the table anytime soon.
On board of Egypt, the airliner might have happened an explosion, the Egyptian officer suggested. The investigators remains of several bodies and think that the explosion could have caused such damages. Meanwhile, they ask not to hurry with conclusions and they have not investigated all the materials. Besides, the explosive residue is still not found. Recalling that the A320 jet lost from the radars on the morning of May 19th. Later, the wreckage of the plane were found in the Mediterranean Sea. On board were 66 people. And despite the truce in the war zone on the east of Ukraine, tense battles are still continuing. The settlement of Avdiivka remains in the hotspot as well as throughout Donetsk and Lugansk directions. Anti-terrorist operations spokesperson of the presidential administration of Ukraine, Alexander Martysyanuk, reported about the losses of Ukrainian military on 23rd of May as a result of mortar shell fire.
7 українських військовослужбовців загинули. Ще 9 наших бійців були.
As a result of the fighting, we have big losses. 7 soldiers were killed and 9 were wounded. These extremely heavy losses Ukrainian troops received at all 3 directions. According to the General Directorate of Intelligence, recently 8 trucks with mines of 82 and 122 millimeters were delivered to Yasinovata and Spartak settlement.
First officer and citizen of Kyiv who was killed in the ATO zone was honored in the capital. Volodymyr Kravchuk was a commander of one of the troops of Special Operations Battalions, Bars. Hero was only 21 years old. He spent more than 1 month in the ATO zone and refused to go to Kyiv for rotation. Kyiv school, where Volodymyr was studying, is called after his name. The museum was created there. And on the wall of his house, the memorial board has been opened. Our journalist got acquainted with the officer's life history.
Volodymyr Kravchuk was the first officer from Kiev who participated in anti-terrorist operation. He died on June 19, 2014 during the combat mission of freeing from insurgents the city of Yampil in Donetsk region. In the house where he lived, a memorial plaque was installed. Yes, it was a sniper's bullet, and I was told the guys helped him so he would not fall from the tank, and by that we were able to bury him.
The oath. This is his first picture right after the oath. He really liked the army service. This is his commander. He respected him, saying that he stands up for his men.
According to the comrades, Volodya suffered from fatal injuries in the head and in the chest. Neither helmet nor body armor could save him. Here on this Kevlar helmet is a marking from a sniper bullet. Volodya always spoiled for the hardest fight and was a true military officer, as his commander Petro recalls.
He showed his professional skills, commander skills. He could show by their own example how to do. In the battle he died on June 19th, 2014, during the capture of Yampil.
Last year, on April 16, the 275 Kiev school was named after Volodymyr Kravchuk. Children and teachers gathered pictures, banners, printed out the photos. At the school's museum, the excursion about the life and death of the officer are held. For children, it is very important when they walk onto the room of the museum and they think that Volodya alive along with them here, walking the halls of this school. He is theirs, he is close. He sits with them at their desks, so they big pictures, they make him alive.
The character of Volodya, who I am telling about, is brave, kind and cheerful.
Volodymyr was forced twice to go home, but his counterparts remember he remained at the forefront and led it into the action. He was posthumously awarded the Medal of the Hero. This is Elena Sarenko for First Ukraine.
Ukrainian national football team was brought by hundreds of fans to Euro 2016. The final part of European Championship will be held in France since 10th of June to 10th of July. What Ukrainian fans wish to Ukrainian team and in what mood our players go to competition, watching the following story.
In the afternoon, Mikhailovska Square was crowded. Hundreds of sports fans has gathered here in order to support Ukrainian national team. Ukrainian football players will take part in final of European Championship for the first time. 4 years ago, Ukraine and Poland held the event, and then Ukrainian team could not reach the playoff despite of the active support. At Euro 2016 in France, as players, so Hades football official hope to make the results better.
As always, our players will expect from you an energy to perform as well as possible and show a good play. Our coaching staff, as always, aim for the best achievements. All of us expect from our players great, beautiful play and victories. Slava Ukraina!
President of Ukraine also wished luck for Ukrainian players at French stadiums. Petro Poroshenko had passed yellow-blue flag with children's wishes from over Ukraine to captain of Ukrainian team Ruslan Rutain. Players also didn't forget to say about those heroes who inspired them out of football field and to whom they dedicate their victories.
Many thanks to our heroes, our soldiers who are now at the war zone. I have many friends who went there as volunteers and who now are serving as border troops of Ukraine. We are proud of them and we love them, and they are our heroes.
In order to please Ukrainian defenders during the Euro, Artem Fedetsky and team should break the defense of serious competitors, German, Polish and North Irish national teams. The youngest fans are assured confident to success of Yellow-Blue team. Who will lead our team?
Yarmolenko.
And Konoplanka?
And Konoplanka.
And how we will play with German team?
We will win.
Official visiting card of Ukrainian team in France will be the song Yikhali Kozaki, which means in Ukrainian Kazakhs were going. Leading singer of the band which sings this song, Sergei Vasylyuk, is fan of Ukrainian team. With this song, he wants to recall football players how their play is important for the state.
I just want to say, each football player that people love them and yours looks up to them.
Before the departure to Boryspil airport, where the team under command of Mikhailo Fomenko will move to Italy for the first training, players threw official balls of championship just from the scene. Kyiv citizen Yevgenia has managed to get the ball. Of course, I would like to wish them victory. It is to be recalled that the first play of Ukrainian national team at Euro 2016 will happen on the 12th of June in Lille against champion of the world, German national team.
This year, Ukrainian producers again joined one of the most important events in cinema world, Cannes Film Festival. More details about its program and achievements of Ukrainian watch in the following story.
This year, Ukrainian films didn't participate in the competitive program of the Cannes, but we have a lot of new cooperation in the so-called cinema market. This is commercial part of the festival where feature film can find their ways for realization. So in this area Ukraine had a victory. Young screenwriter Marisa Nikityuk won the prize for the best script from the Eastern Europe. We are waiting for some new co-productions this year. You know that Marisa Nikityuk awarded in the competition Script East. It is screenwriting competition, which is held under the auspices of Poland during the cinema market. And this award is now very easy way to search European co-production for the film When Trees Fall. There are currently concrete negotiations with Poland and Macedonia. This pavilion has presented catalogue Ukrainian films 2016-2015, published specially for the Cannes International Film Festival, which gathered information about the latest Ukrainian films and those work that are under production. What is our main work? It's a daily work in the Ukrainian pavilion where the team of Molodys Festival and the State Film Agency work together. Visitors interested about future location for filming in Ukraine. They are interested about rent movies for theater and TV format and told us about participating in the international festivals. We recall that the previous years Ukraine took part in the main program of the festival. In 2010, Ukraine became the part of the competition at the first time with film by Sergei Loznitsa, My Happiness. The following year, winning with Maria Vroda, short film Cross. This year, Cannes Festival lasted 10 days. The main competition program included more than 20 films. British film I'm Daniel Blake by Ken Loach won the Golden Palm. It is a story which criticizes the policy of reducing social distance. A Grand Prix Cannes won the film It's Just the End of the World by Canadian director Xavier Dolan.
It was weekly newscast by First Ukraine. Victoria Zabian was working for you in the studio. Wish you only good news. Take care and goodbye.